Barker with Halo, and I went and looked up all your titles, and I was like, she's gonna have to go through all of these with us. By the way,
because I'm old.
No,
every decade.
You're accomplished.
Thank you.
Well, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a beautiful day today. I'm up. It's really funny because like early in the morning, I feel like I'll never get out of bed and I will not be up, and then I do it. But sometimes I feel like I need chains, like someone to just like literally physically lift me up. But then once I'm up, I'm okay. It's a crazy thing. But you know, it happens. My husband, he takes out the dog at 4:30 before he leaves in the morning. And sometimes he'll start talking to me. And I'm like, excuse me, like, did anyone say you could really talk to me right now? Like, I'm not even up. But then he'll wake me up. And then the minute I got a new phone. So I'm now an Apple person. I got it. So this kept me up for a little bit. So I really was up since 4:30. But yeah, I'm loving it.
Are you? I have not upgraded to that. I'm still on the old Apple, but that's my next one. And it's got the 3 cameras and it's supposed to be pretty awesome. And I know, is it Alana?
Alana bullied me into it.
Yeah, she bullied you into it. So you've got a 14-year-old, right?
I have a 14-year-old daughter. She's a bully. Even yesterday when it came in, I'm like, I really should have gotten the Samsung Galaxy S20 plus 5G. And she's like, you don't need to do it. And I'm like, you're bullying me. But I've never had an Apple before. I don't like it. It's okay. I'm happy. I can't wait to start taking pictures.
I will say, because I'm totally like a Microsoft PC girl. Like, I couldn't imagine a Mac. Like, and I've worked with them, but I really do like my PC. But as far as like my phone, Apple is life.
It really is, right?
And nowadays, like, they link up together so well with all of the apps and stuff. So my Google Calendar's on it. Everything. I mean, I don't know. I've thought about like, hey, does Samsung have better pictures, since I take a lot of pictures and stuff, but I can't do the transition. So you're brave transitioning to a new brand, but that's good.
I had no choice because I've had my phone and she borrowed it one time and she dropped it, cracked it. And then the other day it had another crack to it and nobody wants to admit that they cracked it. So I guess Pickles did it. Pickles cracked my phone. So I had no choice. I was waiting for that guy. When he came in, I almost kissed the UPS man. But I didn't.
I'm sure your husband would love that.
Someone just came in this
morning.
Good morning. The bully's here. Do you remember Carmen? You have to meet her real life. Look how pretty she is.
Oh. So for people that don't know, we interviewed last week because you started doing these interviews online and you challenged me to interview and introduce some of my friends. So I want to thank you for that, because it's been so fun interviewing some of my friends, and I'm going to continue to do this even after the quarantine, probably before hours and after hours, and then into the weekend. But it's been so exciting. I got to talk to Nancy, the president of our chamber, yesterday. I'll get to talk to Angie Pye from the Domestic Violence, the Beacon Center, tonight. And then I've got a couple of ambassadors that I'm going to introduce too. So it's been pretty awesome. Thanks. I love it. But when I go back to yours, I'm like, she's got such a great personality. Like, you're so good at asking questions and getting ready.
You are too. That's so silly. You are too. And it was always my fear to do this. I was told 3 years ago, and I don't know what made me do it this time around. But I love watching the interview with Terry, your twin sister.
You like that?
She's the two of you. I just, wow. And I enjoyed your from Fast Signs. I don't remember her position, but that was great too. And actually Frank Stewart said he's going to start.
That is awesome. I love Frank, by the way.
Oh my God, his smile. Fred Bergeron said he's going to start.
Yes.
Chris, and I'm going to interview on Thursday, Chris Nersinger. He's an author. He writes on really anything that's comic related, really cool. So he says, oh, Adrienne, I want to do yours because I want to do it. So I've been getting quite a few people. Actually, I've gotten a few people asking me that I don't know. So yesterday, I was talking to Gina Gardiner. I've never met her before. So actually that was like like just meeting someone sitting on the couch. And it was a free coaching session for me too.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. Well, so I want to know more about SCORE. because I saw that you were it was a SCORE mentor, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that, because I think if I looked it up correctly, I can understand why your personality is so amazing and why it's a good fit for you. But go ahead and share what SCORE is.
Thank you so much. So actually, years ago, I think when I was in my 20s, I met a woman who was a volunteer for SCORE, and she just impressed me so much. I always was a little nugget in the back of my head. When I was in Tucson, Arizona, so I lived in Tucson for 3 years, I met a man named David, and I just fell in love with him. He was such a nice man. And he said, Adrienne, we were talking about SCORE. And I'm like, oh, I remember SCORE from this woman. I really would like to get involved. So I really just got involved right away. And it takes 3 months to get on board. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of, understanding what the role is, a lot of training, which I love. Anything that I have to train for and learn, I'm in. So I did all of that on the web. And then I had to co-mentor a few times. And then I started mentoring in SCORE. And there's such a need for mentors at every location. And then about 8 months later, they said, would you think about being the VP of marketing for Southern Arizona? And I said, of course, yes, because I have that attitude that just say yes and figure it out. So I said, yes, figure it out. And what it did was it taught me like constant contact. And there were some things I wasn't perfect at it, but I really, I think when you really, really honor the company that you're working for, like when I worked for American Cancer too, or Muscular Dystrophy Association, wear it proudly. So often if I'm going to an event and I have a choice, do I wear my Halo badge or my SCORE badge, and it's a business event, I may wear my SCORE badge at the time because I can always talk about Halo, but SCORE is something that we all recognize. So I'm a volunteer with SCORE. So here in Volusia County, I came to Daytona Beach to open up my dad's 5th art gallery. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, let me see what SCORE is like here. So I just started following SCORE on Facebook. And then I wrote to the person, whoever it was behind, I sent a message and I said, your posts are really amazing. You're doing a fantastic job. And I told her who I was. And I said, at one point, I'd like to get involved. After I closed the gallery, I finally got a chance to meet the woman of my dreams. I love her, though. Debbie Rainey is unbelievable. She is so brilliant. And I interviewed her, artist, everything about what Debbie does. It's just beautiful. Now we're a different kind of SCORE office because we have our new president, which is Jason Morgan, is what I call the new face of SCORE, because people think of SCORE, they think of, retired and older and someone who's been in business, but it doesn't have to be that way. You could be a SCORE mentor. So I love our SCORE office. So then I got involved, and then they said, would you like to be director of marketing for Volusia Flagler? And I said, sure. So right now we're busy. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of people right now that are looking to start a business. And so it's for the life of the business. So you don't necessarily have to start a business. You could want to end your business. And SCORE, we receive funding from Congress. So we're an arm of the Small Business Administration. So there's about 10,000 SCORE volunteers throughout the United States and about 275 offices. And right now, we're getting really noticed as being a resource when we're talking about a lot of the funding that is out there. Our office, we have about 40 members. We're always looking for more. Everyone's active in some way. And I tend to marketing, nonprofit is really my business setup I can do. And e-commerce I'm learning about. I've had a lot of people interested in promotional products. I actually mentor in the industry for promotional products. I mentor distributors and suppliers, which is great. And that's awesome. It's really fun. It's all I can say is if you love business, then you would love SCORE because it's fun.
That's awesome. I mean, it makes sense. If you know you make sense. It makes sense that you would be a SCORE mentor. That's really awesome. But aside from that, you do a lot of stuff here locally. So I know that you're involved with. So the way that we met was through Maria Davila from Healthy Souls, and I think we had met at the chamber, or I did a presentation, but we hadn't actually met. And we may have been in passing, but we never actually met. And I want to say it was right before we did our Puerto Rico trip. We had an event at Healthy Souls at the warehouse, and then you and I met face to face. Right? Yes. Seems right?
Yeah.
I got it.
I love when I met you. I love when you were speaking about the, so you were in the position you were encouraging businesses to sign up and nominate themselves or another company for the Business of the Year awards.
Yeah, so I'm a part of the Small Business Committee, which I think you should talk to Ken Phelps about, because I think you would be a great addition to that committee. And I know it's going to take some changes and some stuff right now with everything that's happening. I'm gonna foresee that all those committees are going to have some sort of a change. But regardless, I really think that you should talk to Ken about it. So I was on that committee. I got to be the awards chair last year for the awards, and we went to each RBC meeting and ambassadors and just talked about like, hey, do you know someone that qualifies for this? Are we missing anybody? So sometimes, you overlook people just because some people don't necessarily post. Some businesses don't post everything that's going on in their business. But you might know a business story that might say, hey, this is a great business for an award, 1 through 10 or 10 through 50 or a nonprofit of the year. So so we were going in and soliciting some names.
It was a good luncheon too. You did a fabulous job at the luncheon. I enjoyed myself there. So I actually am on the Action Advisory Council, which I really love, and that is that's
Jim Cameron.
Fantastic. Yeah. Jim kind of, I know, I love Jim. And the thing with Jim too is when he called me right after, about a week after, and it really did help me a lot because I just woke up just not right that morning, and to get Jim's call and for him to kind of change, to just got me out of bed and got me back to my computer and got me motivated again. I'll never forget what Jim did for me. That was amazing. And also I was able to be part of the Flagler Volusia Public Leadership Institute, which was an amazing program. And really that was because of Jim too. So I've had a chance to see him in action, and he is amazing.
He's awesome. And he's so sweet. He's like very kind, and he's been in the industry for a long time. I think Nancy said yesterday, 33 years with the chamber.
Oh,
I mean, a long time.
We went to Tallahassee. Maria and I went to Tallahassee and together, and I slept with Maria. So all the poor women in my life that I've slept with. So Maria was so tired she didn't hear my snoring, which was great. And Maria, she worked so hard. I remember, and she was amazing up in Tallahassee. But it was interesting first seeing everyone that Jim knows and how everyone knows him firsthand, and then watching Maria do her thing. Do you know how Maria and I met?
No.
So we met at Elevate, and that day I just, it's so nerve-wracking. I'm in a new community, and yes, I had the gallery here, and yes, I had the grand opening with the chamber, but I still get nervous. I'm not like Miss Confident. So I walked in there, and I was like, didn't really know anyone because I'm still so new. So maybe this was like my second meeting with the chamber. And I look over and I see Maria, and I walk over to her and I do my pickup line. Hello.
Pickup line.
Will you be my friend for the next hour and a half? And Maria said, yes, I'll be your friend.
The pickup line. Okay.
So yes, I'll be your friend for the next hour and a half. And then, what do you do? And when she told me her dreams, this was back in August, she was at the time with Affleck, but she was talking about her dreams, and she introduced me to another lovely woman. And then we went to watch Elevate together, and we just stayed in touch. And to see Maria really go from a dream to full speed, 0 to 90 with everything is unbelievable. So I was so proud of her, but that's how we really met.
She needs to apply for that nonprofit of the year this year.
Yeah, I know. Oh yeah. And CNN Hometown Hero. I'm going all the way up to CNN. I want her to,
Talk about a person who, to me, that's a visionary, but not just a visionary or doer. I mean, she, of course, I got to see her in action in Puerto Rico, but just from, one thing is to serve in your community, but to serve the world globally. I mean, that's not an easy task. And she, so her and I, she'll kill me if I say this, but I'm gonna say it anyways. I am a list person. I am like super organized. I need an agenda. So her and I, right before the trip, she was like, there is no agenda. And I was like, I need an agenda.
Seriously?
Like, no, there's no agenda during disaster relief, which was, of course, making me super panicky. So finally we get on the trip, and I can't explain it except for the way that she took control made me feel like we're good. But moments up to that, I was like, I need an agenda. And she was like, Carmen, there is no agenda. We get everything to Puerto Rico. Like, it'll all fall into place. I promise, I promise, I promise. And because I am OCD and I'm not a micromanager, but I need to see, I need like, I need lists.
That's understandable too. That's funny though. That's interesting. But she really does. Maria's inspiring, and to hear her, ask questions of in Tallahassee, some up, asking about disaster relief and what they were planning.
Yeah,
this really has been this has been the ability for her to really show what she can do, because Puerto Rico and Bahamas is amazing. But we were talking about what if something happens right here, but we never, that's the thing. We never thought of the pandemic. But then I say to myself, Carmen, why didn't I? Like, my son's in Shanghai. I knew what was going on in Shanghai. I had firsthand knowledge of what was taking place, but I just never put it here in the United States. It's frustrating to me because I feel like I should have just known. I don't understand why I never thought about it.
Because so you do have a son that's in Shanghai, and so it was happening months before, right? Months before here,
Yep.
or they were already wearing the masks, from what I understand, and all that. So at some point did Sam look at you and say, "Mom, this is like a real thing. Like, y'all need to be worried," or did he not put the pieces together either?
He did, but I was with my girlfriend in Orlando at the end of January for an event that she had, and I remember we were sitting at Tutu Tango, and the two women next to us were talking to us, and they were telling us if they were there in a conference, they were getting ready to separate blood for more information about the coronavirus at that time. It wasn't called COVID-19, and even then, we didn't have a conversation like, "Will it be here in the United States? Will we be married?" But Sam, he had gone to Thailand to try to escape a little bit of Shanghai, and Thailand was okay at the time. He was able to play in Thailand and be at the beach. Then he came back here. I came back to Shanghai, and then he started, "Okay, Mom, they're starting to take temperature. Now, it's more serious. I can't leave." But no, and Italy was going on too. So I don't know if I just couldn't see America in this position. I don't know.
Are you a world news watcher? You are, okay. Because I think it is interesting. I have a lot of friends that are world news watchers, and I will do that like once a week. I won't do it every day, but I tend to just kind of try and stay relevant to what's happening, because I can go on like news overload. I get it from my dad, because my dad can sit and watch news all day.
Me too.
And when we were young, like, we just watched the news a lot. You know what I mean? So I try not to do that, because it makes me, and I think a lot of my world news watching friends really didn't think that it was going to be a big deal. Even as it was starting to hit those European countries, they were like, because I think sometimes we feel like we're untouchable.
Right. That's it. That is it. Okay. Thank you. That's it. I really must have had that feeling that we were untouchable.
But I think that's it's important, right, for us to kind of like look at what like our behaviors look like, how we handle this, from a political standpoint, how we handle it from an individual standpoint, how we handle it from a business standpoint, because it really tests everything you've got. Right. So, I know you and I talked about the masks and how important that was, and regardless of whether you're not or whether or not you think that this is a big threat or not, the reasons why you wear the mask is because of humanity, right? Because there are people that can be harmed in a very serious way. It can be deadly for someone that's much older. We now know that the ages are starting to cross all over. So for another year, at least, I think, until we have a vaccine, which could, so they started the vaccine last month. So we're probably 8 months to 12 months away, right? So the reality is that there is going to be a new normal. We don't know what that new normal looks like, but there's going to be a new normal going forward. So from a business perspective, number one, how has it affected your business? And number two, how do you foresee that changing even the products that you sell? Because in our industries, we've been very quick to say, hey, these are the products that we have. These are the materials that we have, and here's how we can turn them into something that can help during this time. You guys as well. How do you foresee that in the next several months?
I love that question. First, I have to I have to admit something. I was wearing my mask in the store and I kept it on, but I almost had this feeling of I've only had a panic attack twice in my life. Once when I played firefighter and I was going through a firefighter, like a firehouse, and literally we stood up at one point in the middle, and the woman that was in front of me that I was following said, "Okay, you go in front, Adrienne, and I'll go behind you." And at that point, as I was going, my hat was going down. I was crunched down. I really had a panic attack. When I got out, I didn't even realize it. I ripped everything off, and the good-looking firefighters, because I don't know, they're all are. Even the woman, they said, I think you had a panic attack. The second time was in a paddy wagon. I was in a paddy wagon and I was behind the driver and the little holes. So I was not in the paddy wagon for a bad thing. So I was doing leadership Osceola. And so afterwards they said, "Are you okay?" I said, "I think I have to ride up front." And then that's a whole nother story, riding up front. But when I was I was in Publix and I had my mask on. I got a cute little cotton mask. And I actually found, what would you like, Alana? Hold on. Real talk.
Yeah.
What do you need? Okay. So you got to talk if you want something, honey. You could sit here and use my phone and organize all my media, but don't take it out because you crack everything. So anyways, I actually felt this like feeling of, I can't explain it. Not a panic attack, but this feeling of a little bit like, if I'm feeling this way, a little claustrophobia, I had to just bring my breathing down a little bit. I do feel for anyone that actually is a little claustrophobic, because it is hard. You've got all this area covered and you've got to keep yourself calm. So it's not easy for everyone. Oh my gosh. Hold on, Carmen. I think I've got to show my phone, my face. There you go. So for business wise, by the way, also funny enough, so I also teach etiquette. So I'm a graduate of the Protocol School of Washington, which I love. I did that in 2016, and I am able to teach 3 licensed programs that they offer: how to outclass your competition, dine like a diplomat, and how to succeed in the international arena. And then I bought for myself in 2017 about 100 business workshop programs, everything from the PowerPoint to the training manual to everything you need, even including tips and tricks and networking ice tips. So I love to donate all that. That's my donating time. So I was very excited to start linking up. So one of the committees that I was on was with our superintendent, Dr. Fritz, and it was the education, or the CTE program that they had. So I was so excited about that. That was going on. I had a couple of speaking engagements going on, and I joined the Daytona Chamber for Promo Products.Guru. Mm-hmm. And then the Port Orange Chamber, the South Port Orange Daytona Chamber, for professional global etiquette. So just kind of so I could separate a little bit, because I love that. And speaking to the students, I was doing a little speaking to the students. I donated my time and spoke to Habitat for Humanity. All fun. Now, I'm always trying to market. Halo is an amazing company because they offer so much in the marketing end of it. So I don't have to worry about flyers and the creation of anything. And I'm friends with most of the suppliers, which is lovely. And I've interviewed a few too and had some candid conversations.
Yes, I've seen.
So yes, and then when we needed to have the mask and some of the products, and the industry has also, like your company said, we've got these machines, we're able to turn them around and create product that can help. There was about a good 2 weeks of really understanding what you could bring in. And unfortunately, the sales, you can make a sale very quickly. Getting an order is quick. Getting all the paperwork behind the scenes, because it all has to have the certification, and that certification, you can't just accept a piece of paper and say, okay, this is a certification. Now you have to go through and make sure that certification is actually approved by the FDA. So there is a lot of work. So unfortunately, some orders are coming in a little slower because of all the behind the scenes work that takes place. So right now, how I see, our industry, I love it. So creative. They came up with what was called the promo show. So literally today, if I want to learn about a new line or see a friend, I could go into this program. They use Google Hangouts, and you go in and they're all set up in wherever they're set up in their home. Some are in the garage, some are in the living room. They have their full booth set up just like they would at a trade show. You knock on the trade show door, they open it up, and then you have a conversation like this, but behind them is the booth, and they go through and they show all the products that they offer. So very, very fun.
That's
And then
really creative, actually.
it's so
I
really
kind
great.
I really love how the business community is stepping up. Like they're really, I mean, they're really getting innovative here. We've got a conference in August that was canceled for FASTSIGNS, our outside sales summit, and it's going to go digital. So I'm so curious to see what that's going to look like. It's exciting.
And it kind of opens it up to everyone that may have troubles getting flights, don't want to fly, the expense. So the idea is really to not make money on these programs as much to educate your staff and allow them to grow. So I do think that this is amazing, and I'm pretty impressed that the bandwidth is we're able to do it with all the kids that are supposed to be. It's school time. Hello, go to school. After you do go to school. But anyway, so
Like, your phone first, then.
Yeah, fix my phone first. But every day I try to touch on, I always say, you touch on the past, the present, and the future in sales. And you hit all three of them in the course of the day so that you're consistently putting eggs in your basket so that you're not, not losing. Now, it's taken a while to really, because I just honestly, so I got hit by a car in May. And then the gallery closed at the end of July. And then I was going to physical therapy 3 times a week. So that really didn't end till January. So I feel like even though I've been with Halo for over a year, it doesn't feel like I've been that much because it takes time to get people to know you and understand me. I mean, I'm coming in at a new community. They don't know who Adrienne is. And I'm not that person that's like, hi, I'm Adrienne. You need to buy from me. Like, who's buying? Or who's a salesperson? That's not my selling style. But I am. So, but there's not, I don't know, actually. So we'll put this out there. If you are in the promotional products industry and you have your MAS, your Masters of Advertising Specialties certification, which I have, lifetime certified, a PPA fellow, then let me know, because someone said that we're all a dime a dozen. And I said, that's not true, because first of all, what I've done in my 35 years and how I hold this certification and the fact that it is a lifetime, and I'm going to go for there's a little plus that I could get. So I'm going to go for that, but we're all different. And so even if I was in a room, and I've done this before, I've been in a room with every other, like all promotional products distributors, I go with nothing on my table and everyone says, wait, you don't have anything on your table. I said, if you everything around here you can look at, I can get. The difference between everyone else is my brain. It's how I think. It's my creativity, because the products are all items that you can get. They're tangible products. There's good suppliers, bad suppliers. Hopefully the person you're buying from knows the difference and has relationships. But when people going to you, they're really going for your brain. They're going for your heart. They're going for what you've done for the community. So I feel like, okay, now things were starting to go great. So I'm kind of sad because I was just picking up steam.
That's how we feel. Oh, I know.
But it's okay, because you do other things, and that's fine too. So I'm on Upwork. So my son Sammy was on Upwork as a freelancer. And honestly, it's taken me about 4 years to get approved. Finally, I got approved, and now I've been consulting. So I'm actually a consultant for 3 very large national companies. And when they have someone that's looking for information about coming into the promotional products industry, I'm the one that's called. It's amazing pay. That is awesome. So I'm very excited about that. I'm working on a new project with someone right now. So it's on hold a little bit as they're starting to get their website together. But once that's released, that I'll be able to help sell for them and promote them. So things are fine. I can't complain. I keep busy. And I just, and doing this is great, right? I think, so I did 29 in 2 weeks. And then I was like, wow, no wonder I'm tired. I don't recommend doing 6 in a day because it is draining. So now I'm keeping it to 2 or 3 a day. That's right. Because it is, but it's fun. And everyone else, and you're giving them an opportunity to be able to speak and share what they want to share. So I think that it's a great thing that you're doing. And you're naturally pretty. It's so funny that you would say anything about yourself that would be anything negative, because that's just silly. That's silly talk, Carmen.
Oh, did I say something negative about myself? I need to watch that.
You're perfect. You're just absolutely perfect.
You're so sweet. I absolutely love talking to you. And I think what I like about our businesses is, a lot of people do say, hey, there's a million sign shops here in Daytona. I have 38 in my A1, just in my territory. And, there are a lot of promotional product people, and there are a lot of, but you don't get the community focus that you get with the companies that we're with, and that's something that I always tell people. I was at a networking event when I first got here, and somebody actually used me as an example as they were talking about, like, hey, the reason why you should do business with this other person is because they're so unique in what they do. It's not like what Carmen does. There's a million sign companies everywhere. And I thought, and I had just gotten here, so I was like, what? And then it was my turn to do my presentation, and I did my presentation on why do business with this sign company. Why do business with us? Number one, we're a visual communications company. We're not just a sign shop in the back of a warehouse. You know that we're going to be here. We've already been in the community for so long. We're not the kind of company that just opens and closes its doors. We are community focused. Number one, we are team focused. We're a community. We're an organization that gives back. We're an organization that is vested in the community. So we're going to be here. Our reputations are important. Just like you're at the Chamber of Commerce, you're on leadership. Your reputation is important to you. You're not just going to leave someone hanging. So it always bugs me when people say that, oh, you're a dime a dozen. No, we're not. Absolutely not. Been in the industry since 2005. I've been with FASTSIGNS all that time. So it's not the same. It isn't the same. So
I need to do etiquette training on that. That is very unkind. That's just, but actually, you know what? That makes that person look pretty bad. It really does. And then you may never want to do business with them either. That's a funny thing. You just never, ever know when you're doing something, when you're saying something like that and it's hurtful, what that could really mean.
Well, what's so interesting is that now that person is a customer. They had a fire that they needed. They needed signage. They were like, look, I've got to have this tomorrow. And we did with them what we do with everyone. We jump through hoops to make sure our customers have a smile at the end of the day. And now he just comes to us. He uses us. So, but it is interesting that a lot of people think about our industries like that, because there are so many people that try it out or think, hey, you know what? I can print stuff at home. I can do, and it's really not, that easy. This is for you, 600,000 plus products, right? Who has the knowledge for all of those products and to tell you, hey, this is the vendor that we should use. This is, like you said, especially now with this issue, that you're getting something that's safe, that you're getting it here with your right time. So, immediately when you go through your system, when you're going to expect it, even with the delays now with shipping. You can't get that online. You can't.
And things look the same too, by the way. You could have, how many times have you seen a tumbler? Some screw on the cap, some pop on, some are double insulated, some are really cheap. I've also ever see something that has a lovely imprint area, but someone just threw something really small on.
Yeah.
I've created so many taglines in my lifetime that, and not just, also, how are you going to hand that out? What is your thoughts for that? Because often in the industry, you'll get a call like this. Oh, hello, Adrienne. I'm having a trade show. I'd like to order mugs. Someone else would say, okay, let me order mugs. Not me. I'd say, let's talk about it. Mugs is really one of the worst things to hand out, especially if you're thinking ceramic. It's heavy, it's bulky, even if it's not. What is it that you want to do? And then as we start having the conversation, finding that key, the right item is so important. And you're right. Nobody wants, it's actually almost over 800,000 items. Nobody wants to do the kind of shopping. So I think that it's really important. You want to stick in the client's budget, but I know the suppliers, I know the product safety is huge too, especially if your product's going to end up in California.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of props out there that you have to make sure that you're using the right thing. Otherwise it could come back and haunt you. So I love that. So what else? And then Healthy Souls. By the way, I think I fell in love with you when I saw that sign, the window one, the one inside behind the.
Yeah. You see, even my work makes people fall in love with me. That's great.
Oh my God. It is really, to look at something, I'm like, Maria, that is so eye appealing. It's so eye appealing. Really lovely. So I love being on the board for Healthy Souls, and I'm not able to really get out there and and mingle. I suffer from kidney stones. I have a sponge kidney disease, medullary sponge kidney. Not a big deal, except when I have kidney stones. But with Alana and my age of 57 and my husband, we felt that it would be better to kind of be behind the scenes. So I love that with Healthy Souls.
That's
So I
great.
think we just keep ourselves. So I was saying about Upwork. Upwork is amazing, and actually, I recommend it, especially if you have design skills. If you have like Sam Adams, Sam could be. If Sam said, "Oh, I need more work," I'm like, he would find a ton of work on that because they're always looking for SEO. So if you're a web developer, designer, graphic artist, I do a lot of the proofreading and the spell checking and the copywriting because I like that. And actually, because I wrote a book and published my own book, I have understanding of that. And even doing this now you and I understand how to do video, like interviews and talking to people and using this. And now we can tutor someone on how to do this. So this is the best time now to get some skills. Oh, and I'm taking a Harvard class.
Are you?
So
of course you are.
My parents have the museum. So my parents are gone now. So the museum is will be, once the estate is settled, owned by the 4 children. But one of the things that I'm taking is called Tangible Things. It's how you look at something, because it's a toy museum, but they're really artifacts that teach the story of history. So I'm taking this class to learn, because it's all about curate, and I don't think I'm going to go up north and be a curator, but I'm a believer that if I'm going to ask someone to do something, I want to know enough. So I created my own websites. So I understand Word and I understand Go Central. I use the GoDaddy, but I've done my own WordPress site. So I really feel that when you're, it's always best to understand. I mean, I know I'm not an electrician, but I'll try to learn as much as I can so I can at least understand. You want to do that so you know that someone is doing it correctly. Yeah. If you just say, you'll never hear me say, "Oh my God, I can't learn that. I'm too old for this." My dad was 90 years old and using his iPhone daily, Twittering.
Tell me about your mom and dad. Is it, what was your dad?
Herb
and Barbara?
Herb and Gloria.
Okay.
That's okay.
I've heard you talk so much about them, and then I saw that you posted the video about the gallery. So you said the estate and all that stuff. So would you open up a gallery here again, or would you guys just keep the one that's original?
So I don't. Yeah. So we have pressure. We had the 2 art galleries and 3. We had. So my parents, first of all, they married in 1955, a love story like no other. My dad never looked at another woman ever in his whole entire life. His wife was his life. And my dad, it didn't matter if it was my father's idea. If my dad did it, it was always Gloria. My father always put my mom. It was a beautiful way to see a man and how they were. My dad would wait for my mom to go shopping. And funny enough, my husband's just the same way. I am his light, and I call him the Hallow Shell because he sees me skinny, but it doesn't even matter. I can make the worst meal and he'll never complain, and he'll wait for me forever in a store. Right. But Daddy, Al, would you join me to go shopping? Sure, Adrienne. Then he never rushes me. He's just amazing.
Oh, I rush her all
the time. I got a lot of in the background. I rush her all the time. But
I offset that. She offsets it, doesn't she?
She's so cute. So they had this, they loved Disney. I mean, my dad took not only myself, but my oldest son, Alex, to Disney all the time. They loved theme parks. My dad would ride the rides, throw up, and get back on the rides again. So they decided to start the art gallery. But what they did really was they fell in love with the artists. So I think of Tim Rogerson and Clinton Hobart, Melanie Taylor Kent, Charles Fazzino. My dad is still on his Facebook page, has the very famous 3D serigraph prop artist, Charles Fazzino. And that was what really gave my parents just like what they loved. They also loved the races. Well, my dad really loved the races. So that at one point they had a suite at the Gulfstream in Hollandale. They had the gallery. And then it wasn't enough. My dad wanted to give away art. And after 9/11, he remembered that he had Melanie Taylor Kent's artwork, which was a Statue of Liberty. And it was a rededication of 1980, I think it's 89 of the 86 of the rededication of the Statue of Liberty. And so my dad said, "Oh my gosh, I have all this artwork and all the kids have lost artwork. What can I do?" And then he waited till things settled down. And then he had all the art framed. It was Lee Iacocca actually that had created this rededication. And my dad put a plate underneath it, and then he delivered it to all of the first responders, police stations and firehouses in New York and in Connecticut. It was a beautiful thing. He had purchased 1,000 pieces from Melanie, and then he had some for South Florida. And then my dad my parents love people. They love people, the stories of the people that they knew in their life and who they were. And I'll just tell you one, which I love this story. And this is a young man who actually worked in the casinos. And one day my parents were out and they saw this young man, Dimitri, at the counter, and he was trying to figure out what to buy. He only had a little bit of money, and he didn't know if he wanted to buy his sister a meal or the birthday cake, and he wasn't sure what to do. And when my parents overheard it, they treated him to both for his sister, and they remained close for up to my father's passing. Dimitri, and everyone came from every walk of life, and my parents mostly like blue collar. They liked the servers and anyone that was out there working hard. And my parents at this point, and when they're in South Florida, said, well, what can we do? What more can we do? The hospital. My dad had an ileostomy, so we spent a lot of time in the hospital, always with pens, by the way. Doctors are special people. Special people. Get the draw, Adrienne, if you were going to go visit. Get me more pens. Like, you just had 500. I gave them to everyone. And then when you give them to your family. So he has most of the artwork on the walls of Connecticut. I would say all the hospitals in Connecticut have artwork dedicated by Gloria and Herb Barker. And then my father did South Florida. And then that wasn't enough. They were collecting the toys, and my dad wanted to have the museum. So actually in 1990, he opened up the Barker Cartoon Character and Comic Museum, which is amazing. And then before he passed, he really wanted to have the Gloria and Herb Barker Education Foundation. He wanted to bring the museum to South Florida, and he wanted it to be something that he could share with everything and that there would be a full education part of it. And he passed. He couldn't find a spot, and it was just too difficult in South Florida. I was talking to him about Volusia County, and he thought that was a great idea. The problem in Connecticut is, it's in Connecticut. There's not that many visitors. If there's 10,000 visitors a year in Connecticut, there would be, 250,000 here. But I'm hoping that we can also take decades and maybe share that in the community and bring that to other museums. So I have some ideas. Hopefully my siblings will listen to me. And but I'm so proud of my parents. It'll always be their art galleries, their museum, no matter what. I will, because I inherited something doesn't make it mine.
Yeah, I love how you talk about that. Of course, I'm big on family, so I just love the way that you it radiates from you, like that they made an impact, not just in other people's lives, but that they really made an impact in yours. And that seems like a silly statement, but a lot of times we hear people talk about, their family, and it's very stale. It's not, nothing, they can't say, hey, what's the biggest impact your parents have made in your life, or what's a great memory? And they're just like, I'm not really sure. But I feel like for you, like me, it radiates that they're very impactful in your life. So I love that. I've loved you talking about them throughout your interviews. So I'm glad that's where we get to end it. So is with That's awesome.
And have a great rest of the day. I really appreciate your giving me this opportunity. It's fun to be on the flip side of this, so I really appreciate it. And no wonder everyone loves it. It's really fun.
It is really fun, and I feel like everybody who you've interviewed that you've challenged to do this is going to interview you, because your personality is just amazing. I just love you. Obviously we didn't have any one-on-ones face-to-face prior to this, but I feel like we are a lot alike in a lot of things. And I love your personality. I love the positivity. I love that you're always smiling. I love that you're always laughing. I like to laugh a lot.
I can tell. I love hugs too. I think that's amazing.
I know. I told Nancy. So I saw Nancy yesterday morning. And then I had her on.
Where'd you see her?
At the chamber. We were doing a donation, so we had a meet at the chamber to do. And she was like, "I'd give you a hug, but I can't." And then I had my mask on, and I was like, "I can't see my smile," which I told you about. Which is like, to me, it's the biggest thing, because a smile just changes everything. And my friend Laura, the one that I was telling you about, that I was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys would love to meet. Like, I would love to connect you guys." She just wrote, she wants me to introduce you to her.
I love that.
Oh my gosh, you guys. And I did an interview with her. She is my business consultant with FASTSIGNS.
Oh, yes. I saw. Oh, I'd love to. Okay.
She was very serious during that meeting, but she is a funny gal, and she comes here all the time. So next time she comes here, we need to get together, try and do lunch or something. Hopefully by then, the social distancing will be done.
I don't know. It's very surreal with a mask, and I think because I've watched so many, I'm going to admit this. I'm a watcher of like pandemics, like scary movies and zombie movies. Yes, I'm a dummy. I've watched it like just as a baby. I think as a baby, someone propped me up in front of the TV and said, "Watch Night of the Living Dead." But literally, and how are we going to eat if I don't understand how that's going to work because we would have to. So I don't know, but I don't know. I'm just going to be patient and wait. Thank you for today. You really are lovely to look at too.
Thank you. You're precious. I absolutely love you. Alana, keep smiling. I see her over there. Amazing mom.
Go to school.
Go to school. Do well. She's precious. I love you include her in everything. So
all right. Thank you.
Enjoy your new iPhone. Bye.
Thank you so much. That was fun. Right?